We now bring on board Vijay Mantri, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Pramerica Mutual Fund. Vijay, morning. Delighted to have you back. Vijay, last 2 or 3 weeks have been tough and rough for money managers. Do you think in the near term, uncertainty and indecision will continue to dominate Indian markets?
I think in near term, I think you rightly mentioned the volatility and uncertainty will continue to dominate the Indian market. I think a couple of key takeaway. One is that in the month of May, is budget is going to get passed, and in what format and with what addition or deletion the budget is going to get passed. I think that will be key thing. The second key thing after that is what and how government is going to handle the GAR. I think that will decide the future FI inflows. Because if you look at the ownership of Indian equity market, there's very little retail ownership, and actually retail investors are taking money out from the Indian equity market. So whether we like or dislike, we are continue to depend on the FI inflows, and right now FIs are not putting on money because of uncertainty on the GAR. So immediate 2 takeaway, I would look at, beside the result which are for the Q4, we are looking at the passing of the budget in the parliament and the clarity on the GAR. And one could also look at how government is going to look at fuel price hikes.
Vijay, what gives you the confidence that if the GAR issue is resolved, foreign institutional investors will come back?
See, the very simple reason that, there's no certainty of outcome in the business of investing, but you look at improving your odds. In spite of all the challenges, India continued to grow at 7%. I think all global economies are facing some headwind, so does India. But a 7% growth, in my opinion, is not a bad growth. Then you look at the valuation, at what valuation you are buying this company. Then you look at the historical cyclicality of the Indian equity market, and in our opinion, the worst as far as the corporate results are over in Q3. So you look at combination of all these factors, and then you also look at the currency play. So all these things favor a little bit of allocation of foreign investors. We do speak to people, and we just had a conference in Shanghai of our CIOs, and the view is that people are more positive in FY13 than they were in FY11 and 12. So we believe that the moment there's a clarity on the GAR, I think more money for FI would come. And I think it is not the question of people don't want to pay taxes, it is a question of uncertainty.
Why are banking stocks underperforming despite the rate cut? Because if you do a dipstick, most of the fund managers were of the view that if rate cut is announced, banking stocks will get re-rated.
Well, I think if you look at the banking sector had, in our opinion, perhaps the worst quarter for the Q3, and the Q4 numbers or whatever result we are seeing in the private sector banks numbers are pretty above expectation. And the effect of the rate cut reduction will happen not immediately but over a period of time. It is general sentiment about the fiscal condition of Indian government, and there's a lot of uncertainty about the NPAs in the banking sector. That is the reason that the banking sector is not reacted, and the market is completely neglecting the numbers which are much better. But for us, we are overweight on the banking sector because we believe this is a proxy to economy. And we believe that with the reduction of interest rate, I think the banking sector is going to benefit immensely. And many banks are available at, in our opinion, historical low valuation. So if one has to look making money over a couple of years period, then I think one has to be in the banking industry. Right now, it is a classical signage of the bear market where all good news are being completely ignored and all bad news are priced in, and the banking sector is witnessing that phenomena.
So Vijay, besides banks, do you think the market stance is going to be tilted more towards defensives given the kind of macro environment that we're currently in?
People may do tactical allocation to defensive, but defensives are not coming at the cheaper valuation. If you look at defense, they are available at the valuation which are much more higher than they were available in 2008. So what kind of money are you going to make when you are buying a stock at 30 to 35 P multiple? But right now there's uncertainty in the market, so people are looking at buying these kind of a stock. But if you are a money manager, you are not looking at protecting your NAV, you are looking at growing your NAV, and you're looking at where are the odds of making or doubling or tripling your money. So if you look at from that perspective, then I think beyond banking, there are many sectors which stocks are available at very attractive valuation, and there are a lot of uncertainty, and that is the reason that these stocks are available at lower valuation. So we are underweight on the consumer staple, but we are more overweight on the capital goods and industrial. So we believe that capital goods stocks are available, in our opinion, if you look at the entire cycle of the market, perhaps at the lower end of the valuation.
Vijay, stock performance is also a function of opinion. Defensives, they tend to do back when risk is back. Similarly, rate sensitives and investment-oriented businesses or stocks, they tend to do well when growth is back. So globally, what kind of scenario you think we could be staring at for next 6 months? Because that scenario will tell us which are the group of stocks you need to buy and which are the group of stocks you need to sell.
I think you made a very interesting point, and let me link with that point the previous question you asked. I think because of a lot of uncertainty on the global inflow, the banking sector has not done too well. In our opinion, and the opinion we share within our Prudential Group, in our opinion, Europe is going to do much better than what it did in last year, and perhaps is not going to go down in much worse from these levels. And there's a clear realization that there's a problem and one need to tackle the problem. So in our opinion, Europe, we won't see any significant bad news coming from the Europe, but I think it will take multi-years to revive the European economy, and I think leadership is realizing over a period of time. If you look at US, I think we have been consistently bullish on the US economy and US market for last couple of years, and because of inherent strength of that economy, and we believe that US will surprise both on the economic front as well as the market on the positive side. So I think the growth will come back, in our opinion. It will not be a big growth, but I think the growth will be muted, but the direction will, in our opinion, going to upward, and perhaps more money will start floating into the market over a period of time.
What about autos, Vijay? You think the volume story is going to take the likes of Tata Motors, Maruti, given the valuations that they're already sitting on, even higher?
No, I think if you look at the auto sector, I think you have to look at company specific. In our opinion, in two-wheeler, I think there will be challenges because the volume growth will not be that high. If a company which is completely domestic demand-driven company, I think they will have challenges because the penetration has been pretty high. And the companies which have some export exposure, I think these companies over a period of time will do well. And we also need to keep in mind that implementation of metro across 10-12 cities in this country, I think that will have some impact on the auto demand in the long term. So we are not overweight on the auto sector, and we believe that with interest rate where they are and with inflation numbers and muted salary growth, I think that sector will face some challenges in next 18 to 24 months.
So Vijay, at a time when you are generally bullish on the GDP growth and you expect that Indian economy will grow at 7% plus, what makes you bearish on consumption? Yes, you're bullish on banks because you like consumption, but you don't like autos because you expect consumption to slow down.
I think we need to look at the penetration of auto industry. I think in a smaller town and some metro, I think the penetration has been pretty decent, and we don't see the kind of historical growth we have seen in auto company going forward. So it is not that you don't like these company, but when you look at these company at what valuation they are available and what are the expectations built in for the growth in future, I think the equation doesn't tally. So we don't have any bad opinion about the auto industry, but at the sheer valuation they are available and the expectation of a growth, we don't believe that auto industry is going to go through those kind of growth, except a few companies which are in different segment of the market, companies which are more toward agri. I think in the rural economy, these companies will continue to do well, but I don't think auto as an industry as a whole is going to do well. And even if you look at the growth which is going to come by, then you need to look at which sector which give you higher delta. Will auto give you higher delta, or banking give you higher delta, or capital goods or industry give you higher delta? Then you look at the valuation of various sectors and find that capital goods, industrial, and bankings are available at much lower valuation, and the growth expectation in these sectors is pretty muted compared to auto industry. So we look at always, juggling all the balls which we have to play around. And in our opinion, as on date, the odds are much more favoring of capital goods, banking and industrial than in the auto industry.
Vijay, what about telecom? Given the recent news flow on the 2G recommendations, do you think it's time to go underweight?
I think we are already underweight on the telecommunication because there are 2-3 factors. I think one is on the whole policy uncertainty. The second is there's too much competitiveness. However, the numbers are looking a little okay. The per usage numbers we have seen upside trend after the downside trade for many months and quarters. But I think still we would remain a little underweight on the telecommunication sector for the obvious reason which has been very well circulated in the media.
So Jay, last time when we interacted with you on this forum, your big large cap contra idea was BHEL. Have you added anything in your large cap list after that?
So we are, as I told you, we remain bullish on the capital goods sector. That was a mistake on my part to even discuss stock. We generally don't discuss stocks. But I think we remain bullish on the capital goods sector. We remain bullish on the banking sector. And we remain bullish on the industrial. And we continue to add the large cap companies in these sectors because we believe they are able to weather these challenges much better than the mid and small cap companies.